How's it going, everyone? I am Jeremy Alexander and welcome back to another Dynamic Projectiles video. In this video we're going to be making our weapon actually rotate around our mouse. So we've already set up our peeking camera, which is really the best way to actually do this effect with. It's the best camera to have versus the look ahead, although you could do both or you could try out the look ahead. They both kind of work. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to add to our is mirrored and our is not mirrored, and we're going to set the angle of our object weapon. So to do this, we're going to say add the action of our object weapon. And what we want to do here is we want to set the angle at the function of angle. So Construct 2 comes with a lot of functions, and if you don't know that, you can actually come and look them up right here in the Objects with Expressions window, and you can see all of the functions that Construct 2 has, and you can kind of use them. So in this case, we're going to use the angle function, which calculates the angle in degrees between 2 points. So, oh, there's even an angle lerp. I didn't know that. That's cool. So you never know what you're going to find when you come here. There's actually a lot of stuff you can do. There's actually a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. So make sure that you always come back and check and look at the Objects with Expressions panel, just in case you are new to Construct 2 and you need to figure out what to actually program. So what we're going to do is we're going to say angle, and we want to actually pick 4 positions. So the first position is going to be our starting point, and we want to say we want to start from object weapon.x. Then we want to go to object weapon.y, and then we want to go to the next point for our angle to set between our mouse.x and our mouse.y. So since we're doing this on is mirrored, we actually need to do both of them. So for is mirrored, we're going to want to flip it a little bit. So let's actually put this to negative object weapon x, and let's go negative object weapon y. Let's go negative mouse x, and let's go negative mouse y, because we are facing the other direction. So let's hit OK, and then let's control click to copy and paste this, and let's delete all of those minus signs that we just added. And let's hit done, let's hit save, and let's see how this looks, and let's see what happens. So with our peeking camera, you can now see that we're going to rotate to our mouse point. And now you're going to also notice that our gun doesn't really look as cool as it used to. So how can we actually fix that? So to fix that, let's actually go to our player. Let's take a look at our player first, and let's go to our origin points. Let's look where our gun origin point is, and I think we're going to have to put it down over there. It's kind of in the middle. Since this player is really small, you might want to do this for a bigger player that might be more suited towards this kind of camera and gun control here. But you can see, oh, you know what happens? Let's go back to the player. And on this origin gun, I need to right click and add it to the whole animation, because I kind of changed the point for one frame, but not the other one. So right click again, apply to whole animation, exit out, and then hit save. So let's take a look. Now we know that our gun object is already going to rotate from the left position there. Actually, let's move it over even more, because it's not exactly, our character is so small that we don't really have a lot of room for it to look as good as it could with a bigger character, but that's okay because it's going to get the effect across. So let me apply it to the whole animation there, and let me exit out of this and hit save and hit play. And we have one more thing to do after this. Actually, you know what? We have 2 more things to do. But let's pretend that this kind of works for us, right? We're still following, our gun is still setting the position to our player, and everything's working. But you can see here that as soon as I go to the left side of the screen, that our gun flips and it doesn't mirror at all. So how can we fix that? So to fix that, what we're going to do is let's actually make a sub event here of the start layout, and let's just drag that out. That's just my quick way of making a new blank layout. I don't know why I like to do that, but if you find that that works for you, that's what works for me, because then I can just double click on it and then I can add my event. So the event that I want to add is I want to compare 2 values. I want to find out if the mouse position .x is less than than my object player.x. And what this is going to do is it's going to actually track where my mouse is in relation to my player. So let me actually copy and paste this, and let me inverse this. So let me go if it's greater than. And what both of these are going to do is now we actually have an event to actually trigger if we're mirrored or not. Same thing for our weapon. So since we already if we hit play here, and since right now we're set up for keyboard control, if we hit right or left, we can actually see our character flip. And actually you can now see this work when you actually use the keyboard control. But when we need to use the mouse, we have to make sure that that's working too. So to do this, we're going to do the same thing that we would do with the arrow keys, and we're going to actually add our mirrored controls. So let's do that. Let's add the action of our player to type in mirrored and then hit OK. And let's copy and paste this, and this is what I like to do. And then we can replace this object with our weapon. And let's actually put that one right there. Let's shift click both of these, control click and drag them down. And let's flip these. So let's say not mirrored, and let's say not mirrored. So what this is going to do is this is going to check, or the less than sign is going to check to see if we're facing to the left or if our mouse is to the left side of the screen. And then same thing with our mouse.x. It's going to say if it's greater than the player.x, then we're facing the right side of the screen. So let's hit save and let's hit play. And let's watch this work. So we're facing the right side of the screen, so therefore our mouse.x is greater than our player.x because our not mirrored is facing to the right. Now if I go all the way over here, you're gonna watch as it flips. There we go. So it's gonna flip right over here, and that's the effect you want because it's going to be a very quick flip, especially when you actually have shooting involved. So there we go, that's gonna work pretty well. So let's go do 2 more things to fix this for our dynamic projectiles here. Let's go to our shooting event. Let's go to where we're actually shooting the gun. So I kind of split everything up into my gun trigger state here. So let's add this event to our mouse. Let's say if on click, and now we do have some bullet types that need to be clicked. So that's going to be a separate video, but right now, all I want to show you here is this. I want to put this over here. Let's see if I can add this to this actually. There we go, just like that. I can add that condition in. Let me hit save and let me hit play, and let's see if that works. All right, cool. So now I'm clicking to shoot my pistol, and that actually adds a whole lot to it. With both cameras and everything else there, it actually works really, really well. So I'm really happy about that. The last tweak I want to make here with you is I want to change this. So right now, our left arrow is down, is setting our character to mirror, and we're simulating the left. But we need to fix this. Now that we've kind of put all of our actions to the mouse, we actually need to add additional support. Now we could delete this, or we could just add some new ones. Why not? So we're going to add a new one, and we're going to say if the key is to, actually this was for the left arrow, so we're going to say A. So we're going to need to use W and, or we're going to use A and D, or W, A, and D. We'll put W for jump. So if A, then we're facing left, and we can copy and paste the right, double click, and we can say this is for D. And then where we have our up arrow pressed and platform is on floor, we can just copy and paste, or you can find another way to actually just add that in there. Actually, I'll show you a cooler way to do this. So if you go to our on up arrow is pressed, let's hit B on the keyboard, and let's put our platform is on floor as a sub event. Then let's actually put our platform Y down there. And then one more sub event here, and what we're going to do here is we're going to say trigger once. I really have enjoyed putting my audio in trigger onces because I've found that it doesn't mess up as much. So if I put my audio in this trigger once, there we go. So now if we hit the up arrow, we can see that it's going to check, is the player on the floor? And if so, then set the vector Y to -300. Also, just while we're hitting the up arrow, let's trigger this audio to play once and only once. So that's why it's really important. But what's more important is if I hit Y on this condition, you'll see that nothing happens, but what I set it up for is an OR statement. So if I hit C here, or actually if I copy and paste this condition just right there, Control C, Control V, because I hit Y prior to that, you can see that it's going to add that as an OR condition. So what I can do here is I can double click and then hit W on the keyboard, hit OK, and hit done. So now we've remapped our keyboard controls, we've remapped our mouse, and now we can actually click to shoot. So if we kind of look around, I can now use the mouse to, oh, you know what? We didn't add that for variable jump height, so we might have to go back and do that, but that's okay, because right now everything else is working, because I can click and I can shoot. There we go. The reason why the angle isn't shooting that way is because we didn't actually set the bullet angle for the mirrored actions. Let's do that as well. Let's figure out how we can do that the best way possible. What we want to do is we want to set the bullet to face the way that the mouse is actually clicking. So to do this, I'm trying to think how it would best make sense to do this for you. To do this, we want to just make sure that we're setting the angle in every tick somewhere. And that angle needs to be set, let's think. Okay, so I was kind of wrong. So what we want to do is we want to go to our weapon type. And we want to hit B, and we want to make another trigger once. And I think this is going to be the best way to do it, because otherwise when you move the mouse left and right, the angle will keep getting set. So you don't want to put it in every tick. I was completely wrong. I was just kind of taking a guess. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say on our pistol, trigger once. What we want to trigger is we want a way for our bullet to set the angle. So let's go to our object bullet and let's type in set angle. Now this is just for our pistol, mind you. We haven't set up the machine gun or anything else like that, because those are bullet types that require you to hold down the bullet or hold down the gun, or hold down the left click so you can actually shoot and spam the weapon, versus one that can only shoot every time you click. So we'll do that in a later video, but for this video, what we're going to do here is we're just setting the pistol. So we want to set the weapon angle, and it's actually very simple. We want to set the angle, actually not set the angle, we want to set the angle toward position mouse.x and mouse.y and hit OK. So let me hit save, and let me hit play. And let's see if that'll fix our, there we go, it does. Perfect. So there you go. It actually kind of, let's see how it reacts. It's not going to set the angle for any of our other weapons, but it does kind of work. All we have to do is set the angle for, we can just copy and paste this, and we can replace that. So for our laser, I can hit B, and I can hit paste, and I can delete that. And then I can replace that bullet by hitting R on this action and replace it with the laser. So now if we get the laser again, we can take that, let's get the laser out, there we go. There we go, cool. So it's kind of flipping. Interesting, kind of flips, but it kind of works right off the bat. This was really for just the pistol, so let's find the pistol again and just kind of shoot around with that. But there you go, that's a very basic way of doing things, but it's really fun to implement this kind of controls versus just having the keyboard control. You can do really cool movement like this, and you can kind of just get a feel for what's going on in the game, and you can just kind of get ready to play. So see, I still have the arrow keys in, so I still have our variable jump height. I realized I kind of messed that up with the WASD, but that's okay. But there you go. So I really do hope that you've learned a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, I am Jeremy Alexander, and I'll see you in the next one.